Anyone familiar with Halloween surely is also familiar with the iconic jack-o'-lantern decoration, which adorns homes and businesses whenever the season rolls around. Despite being an object many people are familiar with from early in their childhoods, the question of where the tradition came from likely has not occurred to a lot of people. It is said that the term jack-o'-lantern had its origin in 17th century Britain, when it was a generic term applied to any male stranger that could be seen carrying a lantern. In those days, common names like Jack were applied to strangers. So a stranger carrying a lantern might be known as a Jack of the Lantern or Jack-o'-lantern. Now you may be asking why this odd term would be applied to a carved and glowing decorative gourd. Well, what I have gathered involves an ancient Celtic festival, an Irish folktale, and a little bit of fire. Samhain, a Celtic ancestor of Halloween, was said to be a day when spirits of both amicable and hostile variety would appear on the earth and visit people. In the Samhain festival, people would wear masks and carve faces on the root vegetables such as turnips in attempts to ward off evil spirits. The practice of carving turnips carried on into Christian tradition, being carried out on the eve of All Hallows Day, or All Hallows Eve, for the same purpose of warding off evil spirits. The tradition was brought to the New World, where it was discovered that pumpkins were more plentiful than turnips, and, as we still know today, make pretty perfect jack-o'-lanterns. It is in the year 1886 in a Canadian newspaper that we have our first recorded use of the term jack-o'-lantern applied to carved pumpkins, the action by then being recognized as a time-honored tradition. Obviously, by now, most people do not believe that pumpkins ward off evil spirits, so that aspect of the tradition has clearly fallen out of favor. Now, there is another interesting tale. The tale of Stingy Jack. Although there is some disagreement on the details of Stingy Jack's tale, the general understanding remains. Stingy Jack was, as one would expect, a rather stingy individual, who tricked the devil and through extortion caused Satan to promise not to take Jack to hell on his death. Jack also comes to be barred from entering heaven, and the stories diverge here. It is either through misuse of 3 wishes granted to him by an angel, or it is simply due to his own sinful demeanor, just kind of an overall effect that he is barred out of heaven. In the end, Jack is cursed to wander the earth alone, dressed in rags with nothing but an ember from hell, placed inside of a carved turnip to light his way. There's one final note I would like to make before concluding, as I would like to mention the ignis fatuus phenomenon, and that is Latin for foolish flame, and pardon my pronunciation if I butcher the language. The term ignis fatuus may be unfamiliar to most. However, the phenomenon has also been known, perhaps more popularly, as the will-o'-wisp. Anyone who's seen the Disney movie Brave has seen a nice sort of fantasy version of the phenomenon. The ignis fatuus appears as a floating sphere of fire over certain swamps or other wetlands. It is theorized that the phenomenon is the result of swamp gas from decomposing vegetable matter combusting in midair. Perhaps due to its lantern-like appearance, the ignis fatuus has also been known as the jack-o'-lantern. The phenomenon has been connected with the story of Stingy Jack in the past, possibly due to a colloquial attribution of the ignis fatuus to Jack's lantern. In fact, I'd say that is likely the case. Although there is some disagreement on which of these traditions is primarily responsible for the modern practice, one can see the similarities between each of them, and it may be that several or more of them have blent together over the years. In the end, what we have today is a simple, fun decoration that comes from a long history of legend, superstition, and swamp gas. Now, when you place your pumpkins out this Halloween, you'll have an idea of where they came from. I hope you enjoyed listening, and I wish you a very happy Halloween.